We don't have time to bicker. We just have to podcast. Well, I feel like she's close enough on Zoom that you should just start the intro. She'll join with her video and audio.
I'm here. We can reschedule if you want to reschedule.
Like, no, we cannot reschedule.
Right. So
we're just going to start. Shh.
Welcome to an Oscar-worthy episode of the Friday Night Movie Podcast, because we're going to talk about Oscar nominations and a movie that could very well win for Best Editing next year, Boss Level, and we'll explain why later, mostly because it's super short. But before we get into the show, my sisters, Lily and Becky, it's always good to know how you're doing. Becky, specifically, I want to start off with one question, which is, how did you enjoy Pi Day, March 14th? We released our IGTV special. Give the audience a little flavor. Get it? Flavor.
Well,
like
the flavor was both sweet and tart and crispy and crumbly. And I enjoyed it so much. I enjoyed so many pies that I probably don't need to celebrate Pi Day for another 3.14 years easily.
We still have some of the leftover pies in our living room and not in our living room, in our kitchen. And I look at them, I'm mad at them. I mean,
just
it was
like under
so
the
good,
couch cushions.
I'm just like, what do
you need to freeze. We should not eat that much pie. Please tell me you froze some of the leftovers. I've been getting many messages over Instagram asking me, from friends that are nervous about the amount of pie that was shown, wanting to make sure that we froze the leftovers for later.
We didn't eat it alone, and we gave a lot away. Anyways,
I think we gave 3 pieces away. I saw exactly 3 slices being given away. If by given away you mean we ate it, then yes, we gave a lot of pie away.
All right. Well, people should check out our IGTV special on Pi Day. Becky and I tasted a lot of different pies from the pie shop in DC. Lily, How are you doing? And what are you going to do in order to meet with Sam, Jamie, or whatever his name is from the Outlander?
I have to take out a sketchy credit card and open a new bank account.
Right. I got one of these messages from
I have to basically give all my personal information over to some guy in another country who is scamming me. But if I might meet Jamie, then it's worth it, even if I have to hand over power of attorney or something, whatever it is.
Yeah, I got one of those credit card, real credit card, my actual credit card company offering.
We hope
meet and greet,
or maybe Sam Ewan's just fishing for people's credit cards.
Fishing people. I don't think I would end up on the fishing list for people who like Outlander. I'll tell you that.
If your Siri is listening to you, then your phone thinks you like Outlander for how much we talk about it. So you're on the list.
Very funny. Okay. The Oscar nominations came out. We are not going to read all of them down because who has the time? I can confidently say it looks like there are some incredible movies and incredible performances nominated. And I'm pretty sure, despite being at home and watching,
when did these movies come out?
A ton of movies this year. I know a bunch of them came out. I recognize a number of the names. But clearly there were these moments where I had the choice between watching Boss Level and something else, or any one of the weird horror movies, not PG Psycho Gorman, that movie's amazing, but any one of the weird horror movies that I watched, and didn't watch any of these great movies. So I can't tell you that I know which one I'm rooting for per se, but Becky and Lily, what do you think this phenomenon is where we're in 2020, we have these movies that seem to be fantastic from far away, from seeing the previews or the clips and everything like that, but that we just didn't get around to?
I think it's pretty obvious.
I think it's because we just don't watch good movies.
No.
I mean, it just seems like a one-to-one relationship.
I think I think this has been a really tough year, and while these movies seem amazing, I think they look like really tough movies to watch.
They do look heavy. These
Yeah.
are
They look like particularly heavy. Like there's not even like a Tom Hanks war movie thrown in there.
like that would have been the light movie.
Exactly. Like this looks like some brilliant but like really heavy stuff. And I just think we were more boss level this year.
Yeah, this year is the year of Bob. And I watched a bunch of old classics. I watched The Night of the Living Dead. I watched In the Heat of the
Also,
Night.
I'm not clear on how you can watch any of these movies.
That is true. It's
the
a
other
little
part is right.
confusing.
The only person I know, by the way, who's seen all these movies is an Academy member and has gotten all the screeners. And I'm like, yeah,
That's
well,
like
obviously
cheating.
you've seen them. I'm like, you have insider information
It's like getting
there.
DoorDash for the Academy Awards. Like they just brought them to his house.
Well, Judas and the Black Messiah, which I really wanted to see, I went to go look and see that it says it's on HBO Max when you go to like the websites that say where things are streaming. And unless I'm not using HBO Max properly, I cannot find the movie right now. And that's super frustrating to me when I feel like I've been seeing ads for it all year. So I feel like I
You know what the movie theaters need to do? The movie theaters need to create streaming because I can't keep track of where all the different movies are available on all their different streaming services.
Like if you paid for like an AMC pass, you'd be able to watch all the movies that would have been in theaters.
Like I'll buy
I'm
my
pretty sure
$15.
I'm pretty sure they have that. Just so you know.
Well, I'm pretty sure I just came up with it. So there you go.
Because I feel like that I'm saying like that is something I would buy into because
I think I just came up with that. In addition to my streaming services, which I won't get into it, but I did not realize how much I was paying for all my different streaming services. Let me just tell you. It's a big investment at this point.
Becky probably pays for the most on her own in the family other than me.
Yeah.
So you mean everyone but me?
Which is two.
No, mom and dad too. Mom's always like, "What's the log? I changed the login for your Disney Plus."
I pay for two, and then when Outlander comes on, I upgrade and I get stars.
That's totally fine. I think that if shows or premium networks are going to cost as much as they can, vote with your feet. You should be allowed to sign up when you want. And then other networks offer these deals. Like I'm locked in for Paramount Plus at least till one of my daughter's bat mitzvah because I got like the super sign up deal once I saw they were bringing the Avatar show. Okay. So we don't know where to find these movies, or we didn't try hard enough because we were too busy watching other things.
Just make us Academy members and send us screeners.
But
I wish.
But what are you?
Can we sign up for that? How much does that cost?
What's that streaming service?
That streaming service was the Academy member streaming service.
I feel like they could use an influx of cash. Those guys, they should start that.
So I am still rooting for certain things because there are certain things that even if I didn't see it, I'm inherently rooting for it.
That's yes, 100%.
Or things that I saw that I'm rooting for without really like. There's no context to what I'm about to say. Meaning, if I'm rooting for something, I'm not rooting against anything else. I'm just saying I saw this thing and I liked it, or think about this thing and I like it. There's literally no context here, so please don't add me, as the kids say. My number one thing I'm rooting for, and if you follow me on Instagram, I kind of jokingly called this earlier this year, but I
think you're pretty serious about it.
I mean, I was serious about believing that Husavik, the finale song from Eurovision, the Story of Fire Saga, was your best song Oscar winner. And I mean, I think it's unlikely given what the competition field looks like, but it did get nominated. And Tony from Take Two texted me to tell me, he's like, Husavik got nominated. And I thought he was totally joking based on my rooting for the Ghost song from Beautiful Ghosts from Cats last year. But no, Husavik from Eurovision. I love that song. I think it's one of my favorite musical moments ever in a movie. And
does Rachel McAdams really sing it?
No,
she does not.
Swedish. I believe it's a Swedish singer who named My Marianne, who does the vocals for her character. But Will Ferrell is singing in it. So the idea that Will Ferrell is nominated for an Oscar for a song,
I think it's the people who wrote it.
I'm pretty sure he's one of the co-writers.
Pretty sure
he's not listed.
Oh, he isn't? Oh, okay. Because it
No.
would be amazing.
That would be
Will
amazing if
Ferrell
he
won
won
Oscar for
an
that.
Oscar. I agree.
But at least, but that to me is when you think about music in a movie, right? Not just a song that's on the soundtrack, but music in a movie. That is one of my favorite performances of musical moments in a movie ever. And then I'm rooting for Chadwick Boseman. Rest in peace, rest in power. Because although I did not see the movie, I think he's an amazing actor. And if this is our last chance to give him an Oscar, like, let's do it. Not like lesser people have been given awards, lesser actors and human beings have been given awards for lead actors. So Chadwick Boseman. And then I'm rooting hard for Soul and Onward, but they're in the same category. And we can talk about that a little bit more later. But
I think that's a really tough. Like, I feel like they really could have, although I appreciated having both movies this year, I feel like they could have spread it out to like Soul in 2001 so that they weren't up against each other.
2001?
What did I say? 2021? Sorry.
Also,
no,
when you
because
talk about
2021
music
they
in a
have
movie-
other awesome movies coming
when you
out.
talk about music in a movie, like Onward has like the most awesomely metal soundtrack, and Soul has like the greatest jazz soundtrack. And just again, a really cool year for music and movies, and that's awesome. What about you, Beck?
What am I most excited for?
Or what are you rooting for? Who are you rooting for?
What am I rooting for? Well, the number one movie I'm rooting for is obviously Crip Camp, because that movie is very near and dear to my heart and to my life right now. I actually work at the company that the director of the film, Jim Lebrecht, started. So I work at that company. I know Jim really well. I've had the just amazing pleasure of getting to know him and work with him throughout my career when I was in the Bay Area, and then especially over this last year. And, Jim has been such a, when I say like a champion of doc filmmakers, like, you don't understand, like, people don't get into docs to make money. You are not going to make money making documentary films. And Jim's role as a re-recording mixer and dedicating himself like so specifically to documentary films, you don't do that because you want to become some sort of mogul. You do that because you really deeply care about films and filmmakers and telling these stories. And that's what his whole career was. And so for everyone in the community, after decades of him supporting all of us, all the filmmakers, for him to go and make his own film. And I wasn't working with him at the time, but he is so involved with everybody in the doc community. He'd be like, yeah, I'm going to go out. I remember one person I was working for. Oh, I'm going to shoot an interview for Jim for this film he's making. It's his first doc film. So this is his first movie that he was directing himself. He co-directed it with another person, with Nicole Newham, who's also a wonderful, brilliant filmmaker. And so this is his first feature film. And to go from decades of supporting other filmmakers in the process as a re-recording mixer, and then to direct his own film. And he's such a beloved person. He's such a good, like, if you could just give awards out to people based on being good humans, he would get it. But then on top of that, his film is just, it's Academy Award worthy. And so we're just, everyone at the company, everyone, I think, just in general in the documentary community that knows him, is kind of like on fire with excitement, feeling like this is so earned, not just for how wonderful the film is, but for him as a person. When you want to see good people getting the moment to shine. So yeah, Crip Camp is the number one film I am rooting for. For all of our listeners that are Academy voters, you know where to put your vote, because I know we have a lot of those. So that's the one I'm rooting for. And then after that, I'm just going to quickly name other ones I'm rooting for. Burrow, which is a short animated film. You can see it on Disney Plus. I don't know the filmmaker well, but I've met her a couple times, and her name's Maddie. She's just really, again, just like, you love seeing great people succeed. So I'm excited about that. And it's a super awesome film. And then films I haven't seen, but I'm rooting for, include Sound of Metal, Minari, and Nomadland, which I haven't seen any of them, but I feel like I would love them. Minari, is that what it's called? Maybe I got the name wrong,
Yep,
actually.
that's correct.
Okay.
All right, Lil, what about you? Who are you rooting for?
Oh, you're on mute. But that's okay.
I muted myself. I'm unmuted. I'm going to ditto everything you guys said because obviously I agree with all that. I'm going to add specifically Riz Ahmed. I feel like he could be an Oscar winner this year. That would be amazing.
Even though we haven't seen Sound of Metal, it's supposed to be like
he's a phenomenal actor. However, I also really want Stephen Yeun to win,
right?
Because he's Glenn.
Glenn,
and you guys.
I stopped watching the show.
No, I kept watching.
He died because I just couldn't handle the idea of him dying, so I stopped watching.
Amazing, and I can't wait to see that movie. And I feel like the best actor category is never interesting, and I feel like this year it's like on fire. So I'm very.
I feel like
excited.
the Oscars are never interesting.
Oh, he's
but
Glenn from Walking Dead.
Yeah.
I was like, he is not Glenn from Superstore. You are mixing things up.
No, he's from the Walking Dead.
No, but I also think the reason the Oscars are interesting this year is because it's like far less white, and the films are just far more interesting than they typically are.
Agreed.
And a lot of just what I think are considered smaller films, even though no film is really small, but there's just like less massive Hollywood blockbusters because this year we didn't have as many, So
right. And I think if Husavik doesn't win, then I'd love Leslie Odom Jr. to win for his song. I believe it's for One Night in Miami. Is that what it's for? Yeah, so. Is that what the song is not best original song? Yeah, it's for One Night in Miami. The song's called Speak Now, but I just think he's amazing, and that'd be cool to see him win. I'm sure he'll I feel like he could be like a GOAT. Not a GOAT. What's the one for Oscar? EGOT. That's it. He could also be the GOAT because he's incredible. And then, guys, don't you feel like Glenn Close needs to win?
Has she not won yet?
Always a bridesmaid, never a bride, guys.
Yeah,
I haven't seen this movie. I mean, that's not.
I don't know.
She was great in it. It's a movie. I thought she was fantastic in it. I did see it, and
Hillbilly Elegy.
Hillbilly Elegy. I've seen it, and I think that she was amazing. I think she's always amazing. The movie might have a lot of issues or whatever people could say about it. I thought it wasn't a bad movie. I thought it was pretty good. It's on Netflix, at least here. And I feel like Glenn Close deserves to win. So Olivia Colman won last year, right? Let Glenn Close win.
If not, she won every other year. So whatever. She's
so I feel like I really hope it's Glenn's year. And that's that. That's what I have to say about that.
I'm not interested in seeing Hillbilly Elegy.
It was good. Amy Adams is always amazing. She'll have her chance in the future, but I think she was great. It's a pretty good movie.
I mean,
I don't know. The preview to me felt like kind of like poverty porn. Like I wasn't.
It's a true story. It's written. The guy.
It is okay.
Yeah,
so maybe the book. I just didn't. I don't know.
I think it's. I mean, it wasn't well reviewed. So not that I care about reviews very much, but
I think
clearly
heavy things that I need
boss level.
I don't think. Yeah, I think in this case, if you're interested in seeing it, see it. I don't think the review, like bad reviews about it, didn't deter me. It was still good.
Cool. All right. So now, what are the not snubs, but who would you add to these categories again without taking away from other ones? For me, I'm all about Tenet. I think Tenet was probably, of the 2020 movies I saw, other than Eurovision, Tenet was probably, I thought, the coolest movie I saw. Again, not having seen all of the movies that are nominated for Oscars, but
there was an award for making a movie in reverse. It would win. Reverse special effects.
That movie, I think it was really ambitious and really cool. And whether it is directing for Nolan or cinematography for Hoyt van Hoytema, who I don't know how to pronounce that properly, who was also the cinematographer on Dunkirk. And I think John David Washington and Robert Pattinson both put out phenomenal acting performances. And, if John David Washington doesn't get his nomination now, hopefully he'll get it at some point. I mean, he's been nominated before, so I guess being nominated again would be fine. But I thought Pattinson also kind of was a huge gem in that movie and really helped make the true supporting actor.
Yeah, agreed.
The true, that was a great supporting role. It made everything in the movie better, even though it was a secondary character. And then of the movies I've seen, I would have put Soul in there for Best Picture. I think that was so incredible. And then it would leave room for Onward to win Best Animated. And then I really loved the documentary Class Action Park, the one about the amusement park in New Jersey that our friends grew up going to. I thought that was like really interesting and weird and funny and kind of depressing, but it was very cool. Anything you feel like is missing that you saw, or
I feel like you make a good point with Tenet, but I don't think I saw. First of all, I literally am like, did I watch movies this year? I don't remember anything. But I think the movies that I'm thinking of, while are special and I really enjoyed, wouldn't be like epic enough to be an Oscar contender. So I don't feel like I saw that many things that I sort of walked away from it feeling, so moved, like it was so phenomenal that it should be in this kind of stage, so.
Well, let's see. Best visual effects. Okay. Oh, Tenet was nominated for Best Visual Effects. Okay. That makes me happy because at least give him that.
The movie's in Rewind. That's what I just said. I guess that's the award for that.
And The Midnight Sky, Lily, that movie, didn't you see that movie with George Clooney? That's nominated for Best Visual Effects also.
Oh, is it? Because I missed the last half hour. Maybe
I'm thinking like the other movies I saw were like the happiest season.
It just looks like it was a snowy, like they just filmed in the snow. I don't.
Okay.
And space stuff. I mean, I would not have pegged that movie for visual effects unless in the last half hour a lot of stuff happens because I never finished it.
All right. And what movies are you most excited to see now that we've seen which ones are nominated for Oscars? For me, Judas and the Black Messiah, Promising Young Women, One Night in Miami, and then I just want to keep watching Eurovision over and over again.
I saw that was on your list.
Yeah, I would say that plus Minari, Nomadland, Sound of Metal are the other ones I
would say of all of them, I want to say like Sound of Metal is probably. I'm surprised that Shai, that's not like up on your list.
As a drummer who has probably lost a little bit of my hearing, not a lot, but enough of it.
You always wore earplugs. I feel like he did not wear earplugs in this movie.
Fair enough, but it is a scary. It is a very scary concept to me.
Happened to Phil Collins.
It did, and and it's a very scary concept to me. I'm sure it's amazing, and Riz Ahmed is amazing. So, I guess I will see it eventually, but it's a very scary.
I mean, if it makes you feel better, I work with all people who are musicians and work specifically in sound. They've all seen it, and none of them were traumatized by it.
Okay. Well, I'd like to. That's definitely one I really want to see. Although of the group, I'm probably most interested in Judas and the Black Messiah. And okay, all right. Now, changing gears.
Oh, well, sorry. Go ahead. No.
Changing gears to a movie.
I just want to point out one thing. I didn't see One Night in Miami, but I do love Regina King so much.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see that.
I feel like that movie must be good enough that she should have gotten nominated, right?
People are saying that that's a big snub.
I'm just like, there's no way that wasn't a contender.
Regina King in a movie that's nominated for Best Picture, and Regina King isn't also nominated for Best Actress?
I'm just sort of like, yeah.
Didn't she direct it?
She directed it. No, she directed One Night in Miami, and that's what I don't believe. She directed it. And so I don't believe that it's not at least worthy of a nomination. Like, I'm not saying it would win. I haven't seen it. But I feel like it should have been nominated.
That she was snubbed. That she should have been nominated.
It's That's Regina crazy. King. She's definitely making good choices behind the lens.
I didn't know that's nominated for Best Film, and she's not nominated for Best Director.
But that's always like a weird, there's always a weird discrepancy with those two categories. That kind of doesn't make sense.
Well, because the producer gets Best Film and the director gets
Best Director.
The director's often also the producer.
I mean, they're whatever. We'll split hairs another time.
James Cameron didn't he went up twice when he won the Titanic ones. You got to see a lot of James Cameron that night.
So
just give Regina King an Oscar every year. She's the best.
She's the best.
All right, let's talk about a movie that will win for best. So we were guests on the Buddies Without Borders podcast with Stevie Jackson and Chris Royce. We love you.
Hey, buddies.
It will air well after this episode airs because it's coming out at the beginning of April. But one of the things we talked about was the notion of director's cuts movies. and I posited that, you know what I want to see? I want to see the editor's cut, because director's cuts tend to be just like super long. And an editor's cut is probably has all the things you need, but without the studio interference. Boss Level is a very heavily edited film. I give it credit because what is it, like hour and 30 minutes, hour and 33 minutes? Like very
It felt
short.
like 2.5 hours.
Starring Frank Grillo.
It does not feel short.
Fighting an evil Mel Gibson
To me.
and Naomi Watts. And there's a lot of voiceover. So in case you have any confusion as to what's happening, it's sort of like a Groundhog Day video game, fighting your way through the world kind of movie with some like quippy action humor. I thought it was pretty fun. I did take a little schluff about 2/3 of the way in, so I kind of like
tells you everything you need to know. Can I just read you you know what? This is my review. I'm just going to read my texts.
Okay.
Naomi Watts is doing this movie.
I wrote that like 2 days before.
I don't read your
on the
text.
Poster.
It's a very detailed. This is a very detailed description of what's happening. I'm busy watching Frank Grillo pull his own tooth out. Vlad suspects a Chinese production company is behind the voiceover. For a short film, it feels impossibly long. This VO could be studied in film school. Vlad checked. The movie is backed by China. So...
Well, it does strike me as a movie that would be made very much with the notion of marketing to overseas markets, because I love Frank Grillo, but he hasn't gotten like American leading man status, but he is a really, I think, good action-y type of leading guy. And where else are you going to get Mel Gibson as a lead actor than in a movie that is not marketed really to the United States?
But I do want to say, well, the reason it's like it has the packaging of a great like American style, like American action movie. And then kind of when you get into it, there are a few things where you're like, this isn't quite for an American audience, which is fair. It's great. It has more international appeal. But as soon as you like start to notice it or scratch the surface,
it has a bit of
there's a few tells. And
it has a bit of a Canon Films vibe. Like they made the poster before they made the movie.
Right.
But I come away from this further confirming how much I love Frank Grillo, how charming and funny he is as a gritty cop. In fact, in some ways, I'm like, hey, I feel like if he doesn't turn out to be a jerk in real life, let's slot him in for more Mel Gibson style roles.
Also, he's a beast. You see that body?
That's like Jose just could not stop being like, what do you think he eats? And I kept being like, probably not as many French fries as you. Because you got like a kick-ass bod, but you work out a lot. But I'm like, you could look like that at 56.
I was here for Frank Grillo in the lead. And in addition to being a great action star, he's a good actor. And I think what bothered me about the VO, when it comes down to it, what bothered me about the VO.
I was like, how did you smell this?
He might have, but I bet it smelled kind of good. What bothered me about the VO when it came down to it is that I thought he was delivering with the acting. And it really worked for me. And the VO, it was oftentimes him explaining what expressions he was making on camera. And the reason it bothered me is because it felt like the director, the writers, the production company didn't trust that he could deliver the performance, or didn't trust that audiences would follow the performance. So very specifically, there's a moment where he's hugging the little boy, his son, and I don't want to ruin the movie, but he has like a very specific expression on his face of what he is feeling in that very intense moment, and then immediately begins to describe what he's feeling.
Do you think
I'm like, come on, guys.
Do you think this movie got punished because Tenet was so hard to understand? You're like, this is a time loop, time jump movie. Sorry, no one understood Tenet. We're now going to have you read every scene.
We're just going to make sure you understand. Yeah, we're going to read every scene out loud to you and describe it.
I just liked hearing his voice the whole time.
I'm just going to say that if this movie, I know this is a Hulu movie, but if this was a Netflix movie, it would win the Oscars for Netflix for how good it was.
Yeah, this is 100 times better.
Because there were some like callbacks, I think, even to like old guard, like it had some like old guard things with the like getting killed and coming back to life stuff. And
it was 100 times better than every Netflix action.
Agreed.
And half the time, And there's some great lines in it. I feel like you can't not mention.
We need to talk about. We only have a few minutes left, but we got to talk about the most important line.
The most important line, the like one for the crowd, was when Frank Grillo finds out one of the assassins chasing him owns the gun she uses to assassinate people is Hitler's actual gun from World War II, and when he beats her in whatever fight they have, and he shoots her a few extra times, he goes, "That one's for the Jews," which is like a total like playing to the crowd, like chuckle 90s 80s action movie line, which I think I'm not sure if it was Becky or Lily that made the observation. It was Becky that maybe that was to balance out the fact that Mel Gibson
is in the movie, because we're like, Mel Gibson's definitely not for the Jews, so we're going to add this line in to be like, don't worry, we get it. Don't you feel like
it's okay? Like, I know there's cancel culture and all that, and like obviously he should be canceled for like the despicable things he said. However, don't you think that if he's only allowed to play a villain, we can be okay with it?
I also feel like
he dies multiple times in this movie too. So
I don't know. I feel like if he just keeps his mouth shut, and I don't have to hear what his opinions are, and he just does his job and shows up and is in movies, it's fine. Well, you know what?
He's not very remorseful. Also, I'm not an apologist for him as a person, but admittedly he is one actor for which I have a blind spot because he just like his. Also,
I guess if his main thing is anti-Semitism and you're a Jew, it's like you're allowed to decide if you cancel him or not.
But I want to say, I do appreciate for the most part him generally being canceled, because that takes a lot of non-Jews too to kind of just generally cancel. I mean, he's not clearly fully canceled because he's showing up and stuff, but like, I mean, so like
Jodie Foster's producing his film.
She's a really big.
I loved when Vlad saw that Mel Gibson was in this. He goes, "Whoa, how did they get a big star like Mel Gibson in this movie?" I'm like, rethink that. I'm pretty sure these are the only kinds of movies he can get these.
I do really want to see the movie Fat Man where he plays Santa Claus. Like, I want to, where like it's like a violent action Santa Claus movie. I definitely want to see.
You're there for that, Shai,
and I want more Frank Grillo. I just want more Grillo.
I feel like I need to know, and Frank Grillo. We need more VO and BO of Frank Grillo, and I'm also like concerned about Naomi Watts' agents. Like, I just am wondering what's going on there, because
maybe she heard Mel Gibson was going to be.
What was the last thing she was in? I Heart Huckabees? I don't know, like Naomi Watts' stuff.
She's an Academy Award.
She's not like a small. She's not like a small time actor, but I think
I'm not.
She probably heard Mel Gibson is attached to the film, so she thought, "Oh, this is a big movie."
Because her and Vlad, like Vlad, she also doesn't know what happened in the entire 90s.
She was out planting trees.
Was she the one that was married to Liev Schreiber for a while? Okay, so she knows about Jews, so we can't use that as
she was planting trees in Israel.
Yeah, so I don't know.
All right, well, that was Boss Level. Total buy, by the way. I enjoyed this. If you're,
I would say buy if you own Hulu already,
if
and you can watch it. Yeah,
so it's a high rent.
So it's a
high rent. It's a 3-star movie, but that's a very complimentary 3-star movie.
No, what? No, I would say this is a standard rent, because this is what the bar should be for rent. If you're coming in lower than this, then you're a meh. Stop rewriting the rules because Netflix is making bad movies.
Agreed. This is like a classic rent.
This is a classic rent, and that's the standard. That is a great place to be. That is a podium worth standing on.
It also is a Friday night movie. If we had gone to see this with Dad,
I think we should rewatch it this summer with Dad.
When he says this one is for the Jews, how hard would Mom have laughed?
Dad would be laughing.
She did. She watched it with me.
Yeah, but Dad didn't watch it.
No, he was not into it. Yeah, so great.
Okay, let's knock out some shout outs and Rex. Becky, you first. And say where people can follow you. Or maybe let me go
last. I'm not. I have to pull up my notes again. I'm not ready.
Okay, Lily.
I discovered that I like my genre. You know how you guys I like love stories, like star-crossed lovers, and then star-crossed lovers if there's like a space situation.
Which is why you need to see Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, which I'm going to mention on every episode until you watch this show.
And then I like a space situation. Well, I think also sci-fi star-crossed lovers is definitely my genre. There's a few Black Mirror episodes about that I like really like. And I've discovered the show on Netflix. It's just been like marketed to me heavily, called The One, which I don't know if you guys get it.
That?
Yeah, I started it and I'm like digging the first step.
No, Lily, the question is, I don't know if you get it.
Well, it's British, so I don't know what do you get all of it, even like all the British stuff and the foreign stuff? I guess.
You should probably watch The Expanse. It's not only about star-crossed lovers, but there is a huge star-crossed lover component of people basically who are in love from two different gravity places. So the only place they can be together is if they stay in space.
Oh, that's like right up my alley. So might have to get into that. And I'm just gonna give like a quick shout out to a movie from 2020 that Becky recommended to me that I feel like is underappreciated. It is actually a really good movie, and it's The Half of It on Netflix.
I was gonna bring that up.
A teen, and I don't, like Becky said, I don't think it's anything that deserves to be Oscar nominated.
But it was.
Feel like it was excellent, unexpected, and overlooked.
The young woman who's the lead is excellent.
It's excellent. Leah Lewis.
Wait, I'm gonna have to hop off. Lewis. So I started watching some new, really dark, Danish, I think, crime show on HBO, I believe, called The Investigation. I'm like 3 episodes in. It's very European. It's very dark, murdery crime investigation show. So I'm not saying whether it's good or bad. I'm just saying I started it.
All right.
So if that's your thing, you would probably love it.
Where can people follow you, Beck?
Because at PaperBK Princess on Twitter. You can hang out with me on Clubhouse. I'm on there as at Becky Pamela.
In fact, we have a Friday night movie club on Clubhouse. If you're on Clubhouse, you should join it. My sisters, I've sent you the link. You should join it too. Not a great look when you're not members.
I joined it.
Club. No, you joined a Clubhouse, but did you join the Friday night movie club?
So it's 2 different things?
No, it's a subgroup.
We don't have time for this.
I sent you the link.
I'm in someone's room. All right. I love you guys.
Bye, Beck. Bye. We will close out the show. Love you.
Yeah, love you.
And I recommend Buddies Without Borders with Stevie and Chris. Even the episodes we're not on are so awesome. I love those two. They're such wonderful people. And Stevie's show, Honestly Charlotte, that you can stream on the Fearless streaming service and a bunch of other places. Just check it out. It's so good. It's so funny. Becky and I started watching this movie, The Kid Detective, starring Adam Brody, about a kid who was like Encyclopedia Brown of his town when he was young. And it takes place like 20 years later, and there's been and he has to actually solve a murder. And it was definitely super Canadianly filmed, and we got about halfway through it and I was loving it. And then we switched to watch WandaVision with Vlad because that was intriguing.
You said you were never going to watch that.
I got to tell you, it was literally until the last 5 minutes of the 3rd episode that I was like, I'm sending an angry text to every single person I saw say something. I'm finding the phone numbers of people because I was like, I get how artistic this is. And like, I get it. It's all in her head, but it was really, really, really starting to get tedious, although an interesting send up of old timey TV shows. And then they start to get to the whatever Black Mirror.
I can't wait for you just to have to tell me all about this show so I don't have to watch it.
I have to, I'm so glad Allie didn't watch the first 3 episodes because again, they were brilliantly done, but it was also like, oh, okay, can we get to we obviously know this is not where we're staying. Right. Anyways, I also don't really know what the basis of her playing things out in these old timey TV shows are. So I hope they're going to explain that too. Like, when they were captive, her and her brother, did they have to watch Nick at Night all the time? Because that's what the style of the show is. It's like the first episode is like Donna Reed, and the second episode is more like Lucy, and the third episode or Bewitched, and then another one's the Partridge Family. Anyways, it kind of goes through the decades. But I where is her basis for this? She's 10 years younger than me, her character. So
right.
Then watching a lot of wrestling with Emily Murphy, watching AEW Dynamite a lot these days. So shout out to the T3 guys on the T3 network, the best wrestling podcast I know of. Or at least to Craig. I don't shout out to John. John's just a jobber. And no, I love those guys, and it's fun getting back into watching some wrestling. Lily, where can people follow you?
Chichi, Chik Gomez on Twitter, and Lily Corman on Clubhouse.
And you can follow me at Pancake Forward Table on Twitter and Instagram, Pancake and the number 4 Table on Twitter and Instagram, or Letterboxd on Clubhouse at Shai Corman, one word. Please check out the Friday Night Movie Club. We haven't done any events yet, but we will be doing some sort of fun, interactive things soon. And it's been great to see folks signing up. And we're going to and we're going to always remind you that it is super important to check out the NAACP Legal Defense Fund and the Equal Justice Initiative, two really important organizations that our family supports that are doing great work in our country for our democracy and for equality. And with that theme music by What Does It Eat is going to kick in, and we dance our way into the evening. And don't forget again to check us out on Buddies Without Borders later in April. Bye. Love you.
Bye. Love you.